Okay, let's talk about dreams. Specifically, have you ever had that dream where you're flying? You know, that incredible, weightless feeling of just soaring through the sky? Well, today, we're going to dig into the hidden language behind those dreams. And get this, the secret might not be in our minds, but in the air itself.
I mean, it's a question we've all probably asked ourselves, right? It's just so universal. That amazing feeling of flying, or, the total opposite, that heart-stopping panic of falling. It's a huge part of our dream lives. But what if it's not just random brain signals? What if there's something more to it?
Yeah, what if the air itself, the very stuff we breathe, holds a kind of collective memory? Like an archive of symbols that our imagination can just tap into whenever we dream. It sounds wild, I know, but that's the big idea we're jumping into today.
All right, so our guide for this whole exploration is this fascinating French philosopher named Gaston Bachelard. And you gotta understand, he wasn't your typical stuffy academic. He was way more like a poet of the mind, obsessed with how the physical world, the elements, actually shapes our inner lives. So Bachelar's method was, well, it was pretty out there. He didn't really care about scientific data or clinical studies. Instead, he just dove headfirst into humanity's greatest hits of imagination. We're talking art, poetry, ancient myths. He figured that's where you find the real truth about how we experience the world, before our logical brains get in the way and try to organize everything.
And this leads us right to his big idea, the elemental imagination. Basically, Bachelard believed that our minds are fundamentally wired around the four classical elements. Think about it: earth, water, fire, and air. He said each one of these comes with its own unique toolkit of feelings, symbols, and daydreams that we all share. And this quote really nails it. For Bachelard, imagination isn't just about passively remembering things you've seen. No way. It's an active, powerful force. It literally grabs reality, twists it, deforms it, and creates entirely new worlds and new meanings. It's not a mirror reflecting the world. It's a muscle that builds worlds. Okay, so now that we have the groundwork, let's dive into the main event. Let's really unpack what Bachelard found when he listened to the element of air. He discovered this amazing, consistent set of symbols that just kept popping up over and over again, no matter the culture or the century. He had a great name for them: archival symbols. The best way to think about it is like this. They're not memories stored in your brain. They're like these deep-seated blueprints stored within the elements itself, and our imaginations can access them. And when it comes to air, these symbols tell this epic story of freedom, ambition, and, of course, a little bit of danger. So here's the whole framework, broken down into 5 key motifs that are all tied to air. You've got flying, its opposite, falling, then ascension, and its counterpart, the return to earth. And the thing that ties it all together, the symbol that makes the whole journey possible, wings. Each one of these is a different piece of the puzzle of our aerial imagination. So let's start with the big one, the central conflict here. On one side, you have flying. It's the ultimate fantasy, isn't it? Total liberation, escaping gravity, moving without any limits. It's pure, absolute freedom. But every dream of flying has its shadow, that gut-wrenching fear of falling. That's the moment when the air, which was just holding you up, suddenly becomes this terrifying, empty void. Bachelard says that's the feeling of your imagination failing, when it just can't keep you aloft anymore. And this push and pull theme keeps going with these next 2 symbols. So you've got ascension, which is all about that spiritual climb, reaching for something divine, a total victory of your spirit over your physical body. But you know the saying, what goes up must come down. And that's where the return to earth comes in. Now, this isn't a failure like falling is. It's a choice. It's about humility, about grounding yourself back in reality. It's the peaceful, necessary end to the adventure. Okay, so we've got these huge opposing forces, right? Aspiration versus gravity, the divine versus the grounded. So what bridges these 2 worlds? What's the one thing that lets us even try to make that journey from one to the other? Well, it's the tools of our imagination. It's wings. For Bachelard, wings are so much more than just feathers and bone. They are a symbol of our willpower. They represent the conscious choice and the hard work it takes to achieve that airy freedom.
And here's the really cool part. He says wings get their meaning not from gliding through the air, but from actively working against the air's resistance. It's in that struggle, that push, that our aspiration is truly born. So you might be thinking, okay, this is cool, but why does it actually matter? Why should we care about the poetry of our dreams? Well, the big picture here is that Bachelard's work totally changes the game in how we can think about our own minds and our own creativity.
I mean, his impact was huge. He really pushed back on the idea that you can only understand the human mind through science and data. He put poetry and symbols right back on the map as essential tools for understanding ourselves. He basically argues that a healthy mind is an imaginative mind, a mind that's free to play, to dream, to create. So this isn't just some abstract philosophy. It's a huge validation for our entire inner world, for art, for daydreams, for everything. At the end of the day, what Bachelard gives us is kind of a beautiful gift, really. He invites us to look at our most private, personal dreams, the ones about flying or falling, and see them not as just some random, meaningless brain glitch. Instead, he shows us that they're our own personal connection to this huge, shared human story. It's like we're all tapping into the very same ancient, elemental library. So, the next time you wake up from a dream, ask yourself this: what element was speaking to you? Was it the soaring freedom of air? Maybe the deep stability of earth, the constant flow of water, or the consuming intensity of fire? What is your imagination trying to tell you? Something to think about.